right, so I think I'll just start now and then hopefully the others will join in. But yeah, this session basically is to focus on what has been my specialty over the last 3-4 years or 5, yeah, I think so. Yeah, so basically combining data and analytics with digital transformation. So this was something that I was doing in my previous role at Vodafone. So working with Vodafone Group in UK and supporting Ghana on our digital transformation journey. So I was leading in terms of everything that I had to do with data in the digital space. And so when basically my profile here, so when MTN also decided to grow that space, I took up that opportunity as well. So I currently manage analytics and reporting at MTN for digital. So yeah, so in my very short career, I have spent like 4 years at Vodafone. So I joined on their graduate program. And yeah, so over there, I played quite a number of roles. So I was a commercial performance analyst. So within the marketing division, so revenue reporting, performance, products review and analysis, everything that I had to do with commercial in terms of numbers. And from there, I joined the analytics team. So, Vodafone Group in UK, more or less advised the Ghana team to set up an analytics division so that, they could grow the analytics space. So I joined that team, and yeah, that's why I picked up a role as a data analyst. So it's involved a lot. So supporting the entire business when it comes to, analytics and reporting. So if, let's say, the marketing division wants to understand which customers are likely to leave in the next month or so, so my team was responsible for building a model around it. If the network team wants to roll out sales sites and they want some intelligence behind it so that they just don't put the site somewhere that will not be profitable. So that was also within my team. So yeah, it was a lot of work supporting the entire business, in terms of analytics, reporting. But yeah, it was a good experience, really good experience for me. So when the role came up for manager analytics and reporting, yeah, we thank God for the opportunity and also, being successful in the application as well. So I'm currently with MTN. So I mean, it's a funny transition, right? Competition. But yeah, it happens. People switch between these two companies. I mean, based on the role and the offer as well. So these are some of the capabilities that skills. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to develop throughout my I keep saying my short career because it hasn't been that long, just about 5 years. Yeah. Yeah. So these are all key skills that I'm sure I'll be speaking to you about in case you're interested in the field as well. So I will quickly move into one of the key topics for today, which is digital transformation. So we hear a lot about, digital transformation and what companies are doing. Okay. So basically, digital has to do with the tools that companies use to drive enormous change, right? So change that causes your traditional processes to be irrelevant. Okay, so let's say if you work for a company that does a lot of paperwork, like what the government did with the ports. Okay, so if it's heavy on paperwork and you do anything that removes that paperwork and makes things digital or digitalized, that's what we call digital transformation. If, let's say, customers keep calling your call center for support and you build an application or a chatbot so that the customers can interact with those chatbots. That's what we call digital transformation. And there are quite a number of examples that I'll provide just to show you some of the major transformations that we've seen in the world in terms of, digital transformation. And what you see now with most companies, maybe the multinationals, like Vodafone, MTN, the telecommunication, or even the banks, what they are doing a lot now is focusing a lot within the digital space. I don't know how many of you use the StanCharts mobile app, but what those guys did with it was incredibly transformational. And I think they won a lot of awards for it, right? So what we were used to traditionally was if I wanted to open an account, there's no way I could do that from my house. It's impossible. I would have to, get up and go to a bank. And once I get there, complete all those forms and all those things, drawing directions to your house and all of those funny things, right? But what these guys, StanCharts, did was, to try and understand the customer, right? So if we want to improve this experience for a customer, what can we do to make that better? So anytime there's any sort of transformation happening like that, it doesn't necessarily start with the solution, it starts with the problem, okay? So this is the problem that we have. We don't want customers to move all the way to the banks to open an account. It's inconvenient for them. So how do we solve that problem? So once you pose that question, that's when you begin to look for solutions or tools that can address it. And for StanCharts, one way they figured out they could do it is do a mobile app, okay? So whatever you would come into the bank to fill, let's move that onto the mobile app. So your name, your details, your place of work, and all of those questions, right? Let's create a journey on the mobile app that's from end to end that solves this problem. And that's what they've done. And that's how I opened my account. And even when my card came, I was just amazed. This was a couple of years ago. So you just go on the app, you provide all your details, you scan your ID and all of that. And I mean, that's it, you're done. The next thing you know, Ghana Post is bringing you your new card. And that whole experience is still with me because it was really cool. The fact that I didn't even have to go and pick up the card. They delivered it to me. Okay, so that is one excellent example of digital transformation, even right here in Ghana. Okay. Now, anytime, as I've mentioned, this is one organization, Academy to Innovate HR. They've broken down digital transformation into 6 steps. Okay. So the first one, as you see, is business as usual. So even now, some banks are still doing business as usual. If you want to open an account, you will still have to, walk in. Okay, so I'm always excited when I talk about StanCharts and that use case. Okay, but yeah, so once you identify that problem that you want to transform, you begin to go through several, use cases, iterations on how you can solve or resolve or improve upon that. Okay, so yeah, it's a really exciting experience going through that. I've been through that a couple of times in where I've worked as well. Okay, so let's move on quickly. And as I mentioned, or as the topic is, we are looking at how, data analytics, the role it plays in any form of digital transformation. And as many of us may know, data is one topic that is really big now, right? We've always had data in the world. Data has always been around us, but it's its application that has, hasn't been as much as it was in the past. Not to say that there wasn't any form of data analysis going on in the past. There definitely was. But in recent times, recognizing the power of data and even the tools and technologies that we've developed has helped us, use data in ways that we've never experienced in the past. There's so much happening around data, machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's really gone to such an advanced stage, right? So this is one chart that I usually share. Okay, so we know what digital transformation is, okay, and we know what data analytics is. But one key thing that as I mentioned, I keep sharing is this particular chart, right? So data exists, but then what happens once you know that the data exists, all right? So in any endeavor that you want to embark on, you need to first of all discover what data is available to you. Okay, that's one key step. Now, once you identify your sources of your data, what is the value that exists in this data sets that I'm looking at? Okay, so that's one key thing in any projects that I work on. So once you identify your sources, it's because there's so much data around us, right? So once you identify these data sets, you need to identify what value, how relevant is this to this particular activity or exercise I'm doing, right? The next stage then is can I trust this particular data? So that's when you need to do a lot of, data cleaning and understanding the data sets and validating it, okay? So once you do that, then you begin to describe that particular data set. I have another visual that also, more or less refreshes our understanding of this. So once you have the basics, you begin to describe, based on the data sets that you have, and then you move on to prediction, optimizing, empowering, all of that. So I'll break this down later on. But another key thing that I wanted to highlight is, I don't know how many of us do know this, but some people mention 5 categories, 6 categories, but the most referred to ones are these 4, okay, the 4 categories of data analytics. So there's descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive, okay? So for any project, activity, any transformation that you want to do, right? Once you have your data sets, descriptive analytics lets you know what has happened in the past, okay? So if you are using a stand chart example, for instance, right? So this is the traditional way that we've always done things. If you want to open an account, you need to walk in, you fill the forms, and then, your account is set up. So descriptive analytics, you go pick up every data that has to do with account opening previously. So when people had to work in, how many people did you have working in every day to open an account? How many people did you have working in every week, every month? How many of them were male, female? How many of them were the aged? Okay, how many of them were young? All of those, statistics. So it gives you an understanding of the current, situation now. So if people are opening an account by coming to the bank, you have all of these insights, right? So let's say you want to build an application and you realize that most of your customers or the people opening accounts are, much older, let's say 60 plus. What that means is whatever application that you're opening, you need to have them in mind. Okay, so if they are not as digital savvy as you'd expect them to be, that means you need to develop an application that is even more simple for them to understand. If your data tells you that you have more people within the youthful bracket, it also informs you, the kind of application that you are going to develop, okay? Another thing that we do with data is also diagnostic analytics, okay? So that lets you know why something happened, okay? So once you know what is happening now, diagnostic lets you know why did this thing happen. So that's when you begin to go behind the data to understand, why maybe. So let me give an example. This is something that you experience if you are in data analytics. So at one point you realize that maybe your subscribers are going down or your revenue is going down. Okay, so that is when your diagnostic analytics needs to come in, right? Why is this thing happening? Why are we losing so many customers? And if you work for Netflix as a data scientist, I'm sure that this is one thing that they have been working on, because I don't know if you know, but Netflix has been losing subscribers, in the last, someone said all banks except GT Bank. Yeah, so you realize that Netflix has been losing a lot of subscribers, right? And they were the king of TV streaming, right? They were on top. There was nobody close to them. They were living life. Everything was good. And then after the pandemic, you realize that subscribers are going down. And I can put my shoes in their data scientist or analytics person, because it's something that I go through, right? And you see, senior managers and the bosses coming to you. Why is this thing happening? That's diagnostic, right? And he expects you to do magic, right? To use data to explain to them, why the subscribers either are not coming back or they are churning and stuff like that. Okay. So at that point in time, let's say, I'll use Netflix example later, but Netflix is one of the beacons of, digital transformation, video on demand, transforming the entertainment industry. Okay, so when we talk about digital transformation, it's Netflix. And I realized that this is where data plays a key role in what they do, because descriptive, they definitely do that. So descriptive analytics, every month, their scientists, analysts lets them know we had 200 million subscribers, and all the movies, top 10 movies, all of those insights are so key to what they do. It informs what kind of videos they produce, what kind of movies they get into, how even canceling of shows, all of these insights have to come in. So that's one way that data plays an incredible role. Okay. And descriptive, first descriptive was just simple dashboards, but now it's gone way beyond that. So using tools like Power BI and Tableau, we are creating dashboards that seem like web applications. Okay, you're able to interact with the data. You can click on one thing, it takes you to another place. It's more like a website. Okay, and previously you build dashboard, it's just one static view. You can't interact with it. Okay, so these are ways that it's helping businesses make much better decisions. Okay, so that's one descriptive. So descriptive alone in itself is such a huge space. And then I spoke a lot about the diagnostic. Why is this happening? So that's when the analyst, the scientist has to consider other data sets. Is it because of the pricing? Is it because of the movies? Is it because of competition? All of those things, right? And then you need to come up with all of those insights to let the business leaders know that, okay, so we are losing subscribers because of A, B, C, D. Okay. And then the next thing is predictive. So considering all the data that we see in the past, what will happen next? Okay, so in the last 3 quarters, we've lost, 2 million subscribers, maybe 100K a day. So based on this historical data, a scientist or analytics professional is then able to predict what the next year will be like. So currently, I'm sure Netflix and all those other companies are making predictions for the coming year. So based on the past trends, what is going to happen for our space in the next year if things stay equal, or based on what activities they plan on doing. Okay. And then after you've predicted based on the historical data, you can now tell the business, or you can now help the business decide what to do. So what can we do to improve our numbers? Okay. So if I'm still using the Netflix as an example, based on the insights that you've gathered, maybe it's because the kind of movies that you're putting on your platform are not what people want. So what can you do? Maybe the pricing is what is affecting your performance. What can you do to improve it? Okay. If you have any questions, you can just let me know. Another thing that I want to touch on is also the Agile methodology when it comes to data analytics and digital transformation. Okay, so this is also something that is new within the analytics space, right? So previously, if you were in analytics, you mostly work in silos. So you work on projects alone, try and do everything from beginning to end on your own. But what we are learning with some of the digital transformation and digital processes and methodologies is working in an agile manner. So I used to lead teams, in this way. So what basically this means is we set up a squad. So this squad is made up of people with different skills in analytics. So you have someone that is very good at visualization. You have someone that is good at data engineering. You have someone that is good at, modeling, machine learning, right? So you put all of these guys together in a team, with a team lead, right, which was myself. And then what we do is we do sprint planning. So sprint planning means for the next 4 weeks, we set down to plan what we are going to do. So let's say the business needs a dashboard that provides, insights on all their top key KPIs, and they want this dashboard refreshed every day, with several things on that particular dashboard. So what we do is we come together as a team, we do the sprint plan, and we decide within each sprint. So each sprint is what we will do within a particular time period. So in the next 2 weeks, we are focusing on data engineering. We are focusing on moving the data, right? If we have to create tables, if we have to, merge certain tables and all of that. So the next 2 weeks, that is what we focus on. And then we have something that we call daily stand-up. So daily stand-up means every day we meet for, let's say, 15 minutes and we discuss progress. Okay. So whilst the data engineer is focusing on, the data set, the data visualization guy is working on the dashboard, the visuals. He's working on how it will look. And then you have, if there has to be any data accuracy or data, completeness checks, you have the machine learning guy working on that as well. So in that way, you have people with different skill sets coming together and working together on a particular solution. Okay. So that is what I used to do. And it was an incredible learning for me, because you realize that previously this job would have been given to just one person, and that one person would have to go to different people, and it wastes a lot of time. You have to go to this person, ask for help, go to this person, and it takes so long. But once you adopt this method, you just put everybody together, and it helps accelerate delivery of analytic solutions much faster, right? So a couple of use cases that I wanted to hit on when it comes to digital and transformation, right? So MTN Ghana, as I'm sure a lot of you know, has a mobile application, right? So what informed our decision to build an app? Basically, looking at the numbers and how people, work, trying to get a lot of help doing many things, right? So everything wasn't at one place. If you needed this, you need to go here. If you needed this, there wasn't some sort of self-service. We wanted customers to be able to support themselves in a lot of things, right? So then the business decided, why don't we put all of these different things that customers do, airtime purchase, bundle purchase, broadband account management, raising tickets, all of these things, let's put it in one place so that the customer can go to this one place and do everything that they want to do. Okay. So once you do that, you begin to track performance. Okay. So this is what you wanted to do. Are customers using the app? Are they using the services that you want them to do? In that way, you're able to track performance and say that, okay, this digital transformation that we embarked on, it's been successful or it hasn't been successful. Okay. Another thing too is the chatbot. So the chatbot, you are looking at the numbers at the call center. People are calling a lot every day, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And you want to be able to support people whilst reducing resources. Call centers, you have to use people and pay them, which is a lot of money. So you say that, let's build an application using, a digital transformation, AI, which was on data analytics. And then once we do that, customers can engage with these chatbots and then get their queries resolved. Another example that we've done is using Zendesk. So being able to provide, good service to customers when they interact with us on WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. Okay. I've spoken about Netflix already, right? And that's one excellent example. If you read their articles, they are huge on data, right? So they have articles on how they use machine learning to, guide the shows you watch, their recommendations and all of that. It's heavy on data analytics and machine learning. That's why even sometimes people don't want you to use their account to watch movies, because they don't want your movie selections to influence the kind of movies that Netflix recommends to them. So that is how important, because it's the data that feeds into it, and then it begins to recommend movies for you. Once you search for just one Indian movie, or you do it once or twice, realize that it begins to recommend a lot of Indian movies for you. And another example would be Uber, which everybody here knows about, right? So their form of digital transformation has been one of the, the biggest and most successful. They didn't even have cars when they started with. All they had was an idea and a software and a technology. And we know how big Uber is now. Okay. And then once again, they rely heavily on data, right? Just to personalize the customer experience. Okay. So what Uber is even doing now is, let's say if your house is not close to any landmark, right? But what you always do is maybe you use a school, but the school is not really close to you. So once you pick from your house a couple of times, Uber intelligently, the machine learning behind it, begins to identify you with that particular location. So once the next time you pick the school as the landmark, it will direct the driver not to the school, but to your house, because it's realized that even though you use the school, that is not where the car picks you up from. So that's one way that they are using to improve customer experience, by using machine learning and using data as well. So more use cases. One thing that MTN is doing is also Just For You. So Just For You is also a machine learning model that looks at your spend and then makes recommendations for you. Artificial intelligence, I've spoken about this in the past. So how Tesla and other companies are using AI, for self-driving cars and all of that. These are two roles that I put up here in case you are interested, you want to explore, how you be able to support even in this digital transformation. So the data analyst and data scientists are two very key roles. You can Google them and then find out, what they do. But basically, data analyst is a junior version of a scientist. So data analysts, they do more of the descriptive, describing the data and helping the business understand what's happening now. And then the scientist goes beyond that to, do predictions and modeling and forecasting and all of that. Yeah. So one thing that I did previously that I also want to do now is, if you are interested in, getting into data, right? I worked on a personal development plan that if you reach out, I can share with you to basically guide you on your journey and how you can also, embark or get into the field of analytics. So getting started, basically, if you're able to reach out to me, I'll share these things with you. So understanding what data analytics is, and then you need to get a career plan. So because there are a lot of different things that you can do, you need to pick one, one journey that you want to start on, and then you develop a plan around this. And that's the plan that I also developed. As a general one. You can pick it up and adapt it to what you want. And then you can start with the basics of analysis, exploring and describing data, so on and so forth. So this is basically just a journey that you can go through to get started in the field. So this is a sample of how the plan looks like. Okay. So your long-term goal is what? To become a data analyst. So that's what you want to start with. And then the next column is, what are your specific data analytics goals? So maybe in the next 3 months, what is your main goal? Your main goal is to learn data analysis and visualization. Okay. And under that, you have maybe basic statistics, data visualization, storytelling. Okay. So once you have this main goal and sub goals defined, the next thing is, what specific actions are you going to take to be able to accomplish that goal? So you break them down there. So lessons on data analysis, 2 hours per week. Okay. So what you do is you gather content. There are lots of it on YouTube, right? So you go there, you pick up one, or just Google, lessons on data analysis. So for every week, you want to do that for 2 hours. Okay. And the next thing, these are our examples, right? But of course, they can't help if you just want to use this. So you want to master PowerPoint, because that is one thing that data analysts are supposed to master. Because if you have your data and nobody understands or is not well presented, it doesn't achieve its purpose. So it's really, really important for data analysts. So to master that, you say that maybe once a week you work on a presentation. So you pick up a data set, any data set, and then you just work on a presentation and then ask for feedback from somebody. And then the last thing is, because you want to still improve your visualization, you want to pick up one tool, because there are several tools, right? So the key ones, the top ones, I would say, Power BI and Tableau, which the ones that are commonly used, mostly used. Right? So you decide on one of these and then you begin to learn it. So all of that will be your 3 months. So let's say you want to start next year. So January to March, every week you do 2 hours data analysis lessons. Every week you prepare one presentation and ask for feedback from somebody. Every week, 1 hour you spend on a tool like Power BI. Okay, so that's your plan for the first 3 months of 2023. And then for the next 3 months after that, you say that you want to advance. So you want to learn how to query and how to do data mining. And the skill you need for that is SQL. Okay, so down to, you break it down to specific actions. So for every week, you do SQL lessons, 2 hours. And then there's a site called HackerRank. They are practical lessons that you can do, or they are problem-solving SQL challenges. So you say that, yeah, you do that 2 times every week. Okay, so that's your next 3 months, April to June. So that's what you focus on. And then you say that for the latter part of the year, you want to advance, you want to get better, you want to do more programming. So you focus on one language. It can be Python, or you started with your lessons in Python, you decide that yeah, you want to work on one use case a week just to get better in that particular language, right? So yeah, so this is a plan that works if you're able to stick to it. And then one thing that I did was, so based on your plan, what would you have completed by the end of the year? Okay, so by the end of the first 3 months, you'd have spent 36 hours on analysis and visualization. So you would have completed 12 presentations. You'd have spent 24 hours on data analysis and 12 hours on a visualization too. Okay, so this is just to give you more like the end goal. So if you're able to stick to the plan, by the time the year ends, what would success look like? And this is what success would look like for you. And this is something to encourage you that at the end of the year, if you're able to do all of this, it puts you in a very good position, right? It puts you in a very good place to be able to, start more or less applying for roles in data. Okay, because the way I'm seeing it, and the way, as I mentioned, digital is really advancing. There are now a lot of roles, and there will be a lot of roles coming up in the space of data. Okay, you see companies forming teams, squads made up of data analysts just to, solve their data problems and provide solutions based on the data sets that they have. So these are some resources as well that I put together. So if you want an introduction to analytics, you can start with that. If you want to learn your SQL as I put in your plan, these are very good resources. If you want to start with the Python as well, these are also excellent resources. And if you need data, any kind of data to play with, to explore with, to work on the use cases, you have Cargo here as well. Okay. So yes, I think that will be it. If there are any questions or any clarifications, if not, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, and I'm sure I'll share the resource with you, and if you need any help. So any questions? All right, so since there are no questions, so you have, so you can just do a search of me on LinkedIn, my name over here. And if you have any, yeah, you can just hit me up and I'll be happy to help assist.